With the whopping amount of investment ranging from 2 billion won to 5 billion won for producing one girl group, and just a little less for one boy group, it is often thought that entertainment companies would push the most famous member to quickly make profits. However, as unexpected as the nature of K-pop industry, reality has recently proven that when entertainment companies pick out their most favorite idol and believe no other members in the act could outshine them, the whole game would revolve around that single person, regardless of their reputation ranking in netizens' eyes. Number 1. NewJeans, Honey and Friends. Debuting as the very first girl group of Min Hee-jin, aka the mastermind behind literally all iconic acts of SM entertainment, NewJeans quickly garnered attention and public love for their refreshing concept. However, with the recent comeback OMG, negative reactions have started to mushroom, and according to some, it all came down to how Adore has biased Honey too much in everything and treated the rest of the acts as filler members, with no worthy talents to showcase. On a famous K-pop forum on Facebook, one netizen has shared that while she was content with pretty much everything NewJeans has done for the OMG promotion, the only thing that ticked her off was the way Honey was pushed too much and too obviously. As of the time this video is being made, the post has received up to about 350 likes, and many agreed with her point, that never once have they seen such a foreign idol being promoted that much. The OP also shared that while she knew fans have been extremely vocal about their theory going as Adore would push each member with each different comeback, and for OMG, it was determined to be Honey's era, the fact that she received too much treatment from the company still made no sense. Considering how Honey has taken over everything from screen time, singing lines, to the hooking chorus and solo dance break. Yet, at the end of the day, she is only a piece of NewJeans, and there are 4 other members who have trained just as hard as her to debut. The OP said it wasn't fair at all. She also questioned why Honey was let to remain in the center although Danielle was singing, and because such a thing has never happened in K-pop. The OP said it was still a clear attempt of Adore in turning NewJeans into the Honey and Friends group. That was not to mention how the OMG MV was literally a short movie for Honey to showcase her acting capabilities. And regarding how Apple was one of the biggest sponsors for NewJeans, and for some reasons, Honey was also specifically chosen to introduce Apple products in their MV, picturing a funny version of Steve Jobs and even embodying Siri. Adore's bias towards Honey triggered even more people than just the OP. However, there were also lots of people finding this opinion ridiculous, and though the OP said she held no grudge against Honey, many believed it was just a hypocritical move to disguise her war-triggering act that aimed at splitting up the fandom. As explained, Adore's strategy has proven that they would push each member according to each comeback's concept. Proof is that when NewJeans first debuted, Hae-in was pushed the strongest, and Hye-in was also put in the center all the time. Even the accusation that Honey stole the center position of others made no sense, as from the very beginning, NewJeans had already been created as a group with no sense of center. Hype Boy was the most noticeable proof of this strategy chosen by Adore, and while it was only one click away, some netizens still acted like it was a new blessing granted to Honey just recently. Number 2. NMIX, Kyujin and Friends. Debuting with the title Ace Maknae of NMIX, Kyujin has gained an undeniable amount of recognition for her talents, regardless of whether she is people's bias or not. Yet, going hand in hand with such an overwhelming amount of love is also a big wave of hate, as according to netizens, the way she has been heavily pushed by JYP Entertainment, while all members in the act are equally talented, made her a big thorn in the eyes. It was also this considerable exposure compared that made eagle-eyed netizens put Kyujin under stricter scrutiny, which ended up leading to the birth of several long threads only dedicated to accusing her of deliberately stealing attention, and how both she and JYP has dragged NMIX's dynamics down, just for the sake of making her more outstanding. Here, the OP said she felt uncomfortable looking at the way NMIX revolved around Kyujin only, while objectively speaking, each member should have been given their own room to shine during this get-to phase so that the public can know about what NMIX really is. However, throughout the past two promotions, while Lily and Bae have been arranged on the most outer positions of the lineup, Kyujin is always there in the center. This is extremely sad for Lily's fans because when NMIX is still yet to have a solid fan base, it was Lily's reputation from her appearance on Kpop Star that helped the act gain much support despite the questionable debut. One netizen even said that it wasn't until Lily appeared in Dice's Bridge that she remembered Lily was actually a piece of NMIX. That is not to mention how all the most vocally straining parts are carried by her, which implicitly confirms her best singing capability in NMIX, yet eventually, she is often the member with least screen time and lines in the group. The situation of Bae is even worse since her role is mainly the vocal harmonizer rather than holding a fixed position, and when talking to NMIX, her existence was literally invisible to the public. In the part where she was singing, JYP even let Chinny on the screen rather than showing her. On big K-pop forums for international fans, many also agree that NMIX is quickly becoming a group of Kyujin and friends. Of course, her talents are undeniable, but rather than strategically pushing her, JYP is giving the impression that they were pushing Kyujin down everyone's throat. The most noticeable proof was how Haewon's fan cams always have 8 times more views than Kyujin's, implicitly confirming her as the most influential member, yet Kyujin is still the one with the most line distribution, screen time, and even killing parts. Even the signature transitional part in NMIX's songs is always given to her, and the fact that she got up to 30 seconds long worth of solo shooting in Dice, while other members got 2 to 3 times fewer, and it was even 6 times fewer in the case of Jiwoo, made absolutely no sense. Even to non-fans, all that they could remember was how the red-haired girl appeared way too much in the MV, and it seemed like this was her solo comeback. However, some said that it wasn't Kyujin's fault at all, and JYP's move actually made lots of sense because rather than Kyujin, no members actually carry the group's vibe that well. Looking at her, it's easy to see both the cuteness and the empowerment of a typical new generation it girl. Plus, it was just NMIX's second promotion, so netizens should have waited a little more before jumping to the conclusion that Kyujin was the center of everything. Number 3. NCT Taeyong and Friends. After the comeback with 2 baddies, 1 Porsche, which was said to be a failure of NCT 127 when it came to the public reactions, the group has attempted to go on another promotion, yet unfortunately, they just ended up in another mess, having fans constantly complain about SM Entertainment's bias for Taeyong, and how they are making NCT 127 a group of Taeyong and friends. On Pan, there was a long thread dedicated only to proving that SM no longer bothered to hide their unjustified bias for Taeyong, turning the rest of the act into background dancers in the latest album cover. While all 8 members were dressed mainly in black and most of their hair color was dark, Taeyong was there, allowed to stand separately in the front as the only redhead wearing the only white top in the shoot. When looking carefully, some even noticed that his complexion and face details were even edited to be clearer and brighter, and those standing in the back like Johnny, Jungwoo, and Dooyoung even got their faces blurred out. One non-fan even ironically asked if Johnny's fans bought leased albums because it totally made no sense for one member to be treated like a black sheep in such a decently performed act. Others also mocked the group, saying the remaining 8 members must have been saints, because there was no way an ordinary person could put up with being a filler member highlighting the existence of one member despite spending years in the practice room. What irked fans even more was how this was the very last comeback before the group's oldest member Yuta enlisted, and instead of giving him credit for his contribution, which included dropping out of Hanyang University, despite passing as the valedictorian, they presented him as an abundant talentless member in this comeback. Not only that, while he was the main vocalist, most of the lines still belonged to Taeyong, and poor Yuta could only sing 20 seconds out of an over 4-minute track. Actually, the fact that Taeyong is overly biased by SM is no longer a strange thing for fans, because looking back at the previous promotions, the male idol is always the one who was best portrayed and made the most outstanding. Everyone knows Taeyong is really talented and his aura is no joke, but while SM is able to distribute the spotlight equally among all the members and give Taeyong a little more, they instead blatantly favor only him while treating the other members as nothing. So, do you think these groups are revolving around only one member, or netizens are just blowing things out of proportion? Comment down below to share your thoughts with us. Also, remember to like, share, and subscribe to BeBoss TV for more interesting K-pop content. Thank you for watching!